Welcome to Fun Facts Daily, your source for just the good stuff. Monday through Friday, we're bringing fun facts and news you can use, all carefully curated to uplift and inform. So give yourself a break, relax, and learn something awesome in just a few minutes every day. Hi everyone, I'm Kyle Wood, and today we're going to be learning about the legendary Great Lakes freighter, the Edmund Fitzgerald, which sank 50 years ago today on November 10th, 1975. But before we get into the facts, let's warm up our brains with a little challenge to see if you can tell fact from fiction. Consider this. The sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald was so sudden and so catastrophic, the ship had no time to communicate. It's often said the ship and its 29 crewmen vanished without a single distress signal or word of warning. But is that really the way it all went down? We'll find out at the end of the episode. Now for your word of the day. Today's word is taconite. That's Taconite. Taconite is a low-grade iron ore, which is a type of rock containing iron. In its natural state, the iron is mixed in with a lot of silica and other materials, making it very hard and not very efficient to use. Taconite was considered a waste of rock for decades until the 1950s, when a new process was invented. This process involves crushing the hard rock into a fine powder, using magnets to pull out the tiny iron particles, and then mixing that iron concentrate with a special clay. This mixture is then rolled into little balls and baked hard, creating taconite pellets. These pellets, which look like small, dark marbles, are about 65% iron and are the perfect cargo for shipment. They're easy to load, easy to pour into a blast furnace, and essential for making steel. The Edmund Fitzgerald was a taconite workhorse, and on her final fateful voyage, she was carrying a full load of 26,000 tons of these pellets, picked up in Superior, Wisconsin, and bound for a steel mill near Detroit. Time for your daily high five, our top 5 fun facts about the Edmund Fitzgerald. Number 1. The Edmund Fitzgerald was the undisputed Queen of the Lakes for more than a decade. When she was launched on June 7, 1958, the Edmund Fitzgerald was an engineering marvel. At 729 feet long, that's longer than 2 football fields, she was the largest ship on the Great Lakes, a title she held for 13 years. She was built to be a fast and dependable carrier of iron ore, and the ship regularly broke its own records for hauling the most cargo in a single season. But the Edmund Fitzgerald wasn't just big. It was also known for the luxury. Unlike most Lakers, the name for Great Lakes freighters, the Fitzgerald was built with accommodations for a few passengers. These guests enjoyed air-conditioned staterooms, a beautiful lounge, and fine dining, making a trip on Big Fitz a truly special experience. She was nicknamed the Pride of the American Flag and was a favorite for onlookers as she passed through the Soo Locks. Number 2. The ship's story was made world famous by a chart-topping pop song. The Edmund Fitzgerald would have probably remained just a regional tragedy, but Canadian singer-songwriter Gordon Lightfoot changed that. He was deeply moved after reading a Newsweek article about the sinking, which he noted misspelled the ship's name. He felt the story needed to be told with more honor and emotion, and he wrote the haunting ballad, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald, in just a few days. The song was released in 1976, and it was a massive, unexpected hit. It climbed to number 2 on the US Billboard Hot 100 and hit number 1 in Canada. It's a rare example of a nearly 6-minute-long folk ballad about a current event becoming a major international pop hit. Lightfoot's song turned the Fitzgerald into a legend and ensured that the ship and her crew would never be forgotten. Number 3. The ship sank in Canadian waters, just 17 miles short of safety. The storm that hit Lake Superior on November 10th, 1975, was a monster, often called a November witch. It had hurricane-force winds over 75 miles an hour and waves reported to be as high as 35 feet. The Fitzgerald was racing to the safety of the Whitefish Bay, which would have offered shelter from the storm's northwest winds. Tragically, the ship was found just 17 miles from the entrance to the bay. The wreck lies at a depth of 530 feet in the cold, dark waters of Lake Superior. Because it sank in Canadian territory, the wreck site is protected under Canadian law. It's considered an official grave site, and all 29 crew members are still entombed with the ship. Out of respect for the families, the site is legally protected from all diving and salvage operations unless special permission is granted. Number 4. The wreck was discovered in 2 large pieces, sparking a decades-long mystery. When the Edmund Fitzgerald vanished from radar, no one knew what had happened. It wasn't until 4 days later that a U.S. Navy plane, using equipment designed to find submarines, detected a large metallic object on the lakebed. Subsequent underwater expeditions confirmed it was the Fitzgerald, but oddly, the ship was split in 2. The front half of the ship, the bow, sits upright in the mud, relatively intact. The back half, the stern, is about 170 feet away, completely upside down and heavily damaged. This discovery fueled the debate over how she sank. Did a massive rogue wave lift the middle of the ship, breaking its back? Did it nosedive into a wave, burying the bow and letting the stern get snapped off by the next one? Or did it hit the bottom in one piece and break on impact? The 2-piece wreckage is an intriguing clue in a mystery that continues to this day. And our 5th and final fun fact for today: the ship's original bell was recovered and replaced as a powerful memorial. In 1995, 20 years after the sinking, a special dive expedition was organized with the support of the crew's families. The goal was to recover the ship's 200-pound bronze bell, a traditional symbol of the ship's soul. The divers successfully brought the bell to the surface, and in its place, they secured a brand new replica bell engraved with the names of all 29 lost crewmen. Today, the original bell is the centerpiece of a touching memorial at the Great Lakes Shipwreck Museum at Whitefish Point, Michigan. The museum overlooks the very graveyard of the Great Lakes where the Fitzgerald was lost. Every year on November 10th, the museum holds a ceremony where they ring the bell 30 times, once for each of the 29 crew members, and a final 30th time to honor all sailors who have been lost on the Great Lakes. Now for some news you can use. The story of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald is a powerful reminder that the Great Lakes are true inland seas and can be extremely dangerous. Today's tip is to be aware of rip current safety. Even on a seemingly calm day, rip currents are the #1 hazard at Great Lakes beaches, and they can be just as dangerous as those in the ocean. A rip current is a fast, narrow channel of water that pulls away from the shore. If you're ever caught in a rip current, the most important thing to do is stay calm and don't fight it. Trying to swim directly back to shore against the current will only exhaust you. Instead, you should flip, float, and follow. Flip onto your back and float to conserve energy. Let the current pull you until its grip lessens. Then, swim parallel to the shoreline until you're out of the current's path, and only then turn and swim back to the beach. Now for the moment you've been waiting for. At the beginning of the episode, I asked if it was true that the Edmund Fitzgerald sank without sending a single distress signal. This one is a common misconception. It's a fallacy. While it is true that the Edmund Fitzgerald never sent a formal Mayday call, Captain Ernest McSorley was in radio contact with another ship, the Arthur M. Anderson, which was following close behind. Throughout the storm, McSorley reported that his ship was in trouble. He radioed that he had lost both his radars, had a heavy tilt or list, and was taking on water. The final communication from the Fitzgerald came at about 7:10 p.m. The Anderson radioed to ask how they were doing in the storm. Captain McSorley's last words were calm and professional, saying, quote, "We're holding our own," end quote. Just minutes later, the Fitzgerald vanished from the Anderson's radar. So while there was no final desperate call for help, they were not silent. They were reporting serious problems right up until the end. Now, I hope you enjoyed learning a bit about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald with me today. Be sure to tune in every weekday for even more fun facts. Fun Facts Daily is an Airwave Media podcast. It was written, recorded, mixed, and edited by me, Kyle Wood. Thanks for sharing a part of your day with me. Be sure to follow Fun Facts Daily on your favorite podcast app so you can keep the good stuff coming your way every day. And if you like the show, please do me a favor and leave a kind rating, review, or just tell your friends about it.